Hello everyone, welcome to another exciting session on Python. Well, in today's session, we'll be talking about data visualization using Python. Well, in case if you don't know me, my name is Rajan Chetri and I'm the instructor for data science here at upGrad. So in this session, we'll be talking about various aspects of data visualization. Let us understand the agenda in detail here. So initially, I'll be providing you with the introduction to what exactly is data visualization and why we need to understand data visualization to get started with data analytics as well as machine learning. Once we have understood the visualization clearly, we'll be talking about the various Python libraries which are available with us for visualizing the data. We'll be talking about the various types of plots as well. And yes, we will be having the various lab exercises showing or demonstrating the plots in action. Let us talk about data visualization in detail. Sometimes data does not make sense until you can look at it in a visual form, such as with charts and plots. Being able to quickly visualize your data samples for yourself and others is an important skill, both in applied statistics and in applied machine learning. Well, data visualization is an important skill in applied statistics and machine learning because it is needed to focus on quantitative descriptions and estimations of data. Data visualization provides an important suite of tools for gaining a qualitative understanding. This can be helpful, when exploring and getting to know a data set and can help with identifying patterns, corrupt data, outliers, and much more. With a little domain knowledge, data visualization can be used to express and demonstrate key relationships in plots and charts that are more visceral to yourself and stakeholders. In this tutorial, let's look at basic charts and plots you can use to better understand your data. For this, we will see at some of the demonstrations here using the Jupyter Notebook. Let us start with some basic demonstrations on Python's data visualization using a popular library called Matplotlib. Now, Matplotlib is a Python's two-dimensional plotting library for data visualization. It is used for creating interactive graphics or plots. Using Python's Matplotlib, the data visualization of large and complex data becomes easy. There are several advantages of Matplotlib. For example, it is a multi-platform data visualization tool. It is based out of NumPy and SciPy framework. It possesses the ability to work well with many operating systems and graphic backends. It possesses high-quality graphics and plots to print and view for a range of graphs, such as histograms, bar charts, pie charts, scatter plots, or heat maps. With Jupyter Notebook integration, we are able to freely spend our time implementing features rather than struggling with compatibility. Let us see Matplotlib in action. Let us start with the demonstration here, and here I'm using Jupyter Notebook. The name of this notebook is Data Visualization using Python. Now before we get started with the data visualization part here, this tutorial basically assumes that you have a fundamental understanding of NumPy as well as pandas. Let us start with some basic fundamental plottings using Matplotlib. Now in order to get started with the first demonstration, we will be importing the NumPy library and Matplotlib. So the lab starts with importing the basic modules for your data visualization. So Matplotlib is the base module here and NumPy is for producing some sample data. So here you can see I'm using NumPy for producing some sample data here. Oops. All right. So that there was a minor correction there. And here you can see that we have come up with some values here in X and Y. Now this is just a sampling that I have done for producing some dummy data here. Now we are going to use this dummy data named X and Y for plotting a plot here. And you can see here how easy it is for us to print a plot using Matplotlib. So for that we are using plot function, and at the x-axis we have the x data from x, and at the y-axis we have the data from y. Now this is a very basic plot here. Let us try to decorate this plot with some additional details here. And for that we'll be using some functions like xLabel with some dummy labels here, and this is Ylabel. Let us provide the title as well. And finally, once we are done with the aesthetics improvement, let's call the show method here. Now this looks pretty clear and pretty easy to understand. Now here we can see with some sample data, we can easily produce a plot here where we have the labelings as well. On the x and y axis we have a title for our plot, and here we're able to produce a beautiful plot here. Let us try to add some more information in this plot. What if we want to compare some data with some other data? Let us say some old data and the new data. So how we'll compare that? For that, we're going to produce some sample data here, some more dummy data. So this time I'm going to call it, let's say, y1, and y2. So this is just a sample data producing. So this is going to be into 7, 45 plus x into 0.4 plus np dot random dot randn. All right, we missed here. Okay, so you can see here we have produced some more dummy data here inside y1 and y2 here. Now we are going to use this y1 and y2 to plot a new plot here. Basically that will contain a comparison based data. So let us start with the plotting here. So this is going to be plt.plot x comma y1 comma label our previous signal. We'll do it one more time here, x comma y2 here, and this is going to be our new signal. So if you look at the output here, we can see that how we can compare the two data combined in a same plot here, and at the same time we will just add those information here. This is the same repeated information, everyone, and we'll call the legend function as well, so that we will see the legend here. Now this part, this section here that you can see is basically the legend. Now once again, this is another demonstration, another sample where we saw that how we can create beautiful plots using Matplotlib, how we can enhance the aesthetics of a plot by using labeling here, by using the legends. Everyone, I hope you have understood this demonstration clearly. Well, this time in order to learn more about data visualization, let's work on some sample data set. Now this sample data set is freely available over the internet, and similar to how we will be working on this data set, you can work on your data sets as well. So let me provide you with a basic demonstration on how to work with data sets and how we can plot various types, plot types using Matplotlib. So this time I will be using pandas here, as pandas is a popular library for working with the data sets. And here the data set that we are working is basically flights.csv. So let me provide you with the preview of this data set here. So this is how the data set look like. So it has some fields here such as year, month, day, departure time, departure delay, arrival delay, carrier, and so on. Now here what we can do is basically we can perform various analysis on this data. I'll be showing you a sample of that. Alright, so let us look at another demonstration where we'll be using another visualization library, and that is Seaborn. So we'll be using Seaborn here for plotting some attractive plots here. So let us import the Seaborn library here, and we'll be using the sample data set here. And that is basically flights. So we'll call it flights underscore flat here. So we are supposed to use the alias here. And first of all, let us look at the data here about flights flat. So you can see here this is a sample data with us, and it has basically three features, three columns here: year, month, and passengers. So what we're going to do is basically we're going to plot a pivot, here. So we are going to first of all convert this data frame into a pivot table here by calling flights underscore flat dot pivot here, and here month is going to be treated as the index of this pivot table, and then we'll have year here and passengers. So if you look at this table, this is basically a pivot table that we have produced from the previous data. Now what we're going to do is, for understanding data visualization, we are going to plot the pivot table here using heat map. So let us see exactly how we can plot the heat map out of this pivot table. And for that we are just supposed to use sns.heatmap, and simply let's call flights here. So if you look at the output here, this looks pretty weird initially, but gradually we'll add some more information here, and we will be able to interpret the pattern, or you can say the inferences from this plot here. So let us mark not equals to true, so that we have some values here. Let us increase the figure size. Let's call it this. Alright, this looks much better here. The values are not interpretable, so let's change it to D here. Alright, so now the values are much cleaner, and we are going to just give some title here: number of light passengers in thousands, and plt dot show here. So if you look at this data here, it will be easy for us to interpret exactly in which year and in which month the number of passengers traveled basically. And we can see that from the given data, since 1955, the month of July and August are seeing more number of passengers compared to the previous years or any other month. So basically that draws a very unique pattern from this data, and we are able to figure out that which months people are traveling a lot. So this gives us a clear understanding of how Data visualization can help us in drawing the insights and understanding the patterns from the provided data. Hope this example was clear to all of you. All right, so that was a pretty decent example. Let us look at another example where the lab is quite different from traditionally what we do in data visualization. So this time we are talking about visualizing geographical location using a map. So for this we need a different library for plotting geographical location with a real map. And for this we are provided with another library called Folium. So here this is the command for installing Folium. In my system the Folium is already installed, so you will be seeing this message already satisfied, but in your case you will be seeing getting this thing installed. So once this is installed, let's see how we can use Folium to draw a sample map here. So let us try this here. So let's import Folium first of all, and let's prepare some data here. Folium.map, and basically because this is geographical data, it is going to require the latitude and the longitude here. So it will take me some time to type the values here. Just give me a moment. And this is basically the zoom level. So I think we all use Google Maps, so we know what a zoom level is. Now this is marker. Marker is basically a balloon or pin shaped icon which is in the same location. So this is going to be, let's say, 45.3288 and minus 121.6625. All right. And pop-up, so this is basically the label marker, and let's call it Mount Hood Meadows. So this is just a label marker actually, and this is the cloud icon which we'll be seeing there. Dot add to M. All right, so looks like we are done with this, and now we are going to add some more locations here, and this time we will add 7713 here, and this is close. They all are crows. 623, so 6823. All right, we're going to name it different here. Let's say Timberline Lodge, and some other location, let's say. So let's change the icon from cloud to green, and here let's change it to info sign. And okay, let me correct this error. All right, so this is corrected, and let's print M here. So if you look at this output here clearly, you can see that we are able to see a geographical map which is plotted using Folium here, and there are three markers here basically, because we can see that there is a three markers here, 1, 2 and 3. They all are carrying some geographical location, lat and longitude, along with some icons here. If you click on this icon here, this is the information icon. It is a Timberline Lodge, and this is some other location, and this is basically Mount Hood Meadows. So basically this is a sample lab in which we are trying to understand that how we can populate geographical maps along with some markers to plot some data or some information. So this is quite interesting, and this has been used widely by many developers around the world for plotting their information on a geographical map here. So I hope this example was understood to all of you, and this makes pretty clear about how data visualization can impact the understandings greatly. Alright, so that was a previous demonstration on geographical map using Folium, and this time we are going to work on a data set, and we'll try to gain some insights from the data set using data visualization using Python. So let us read the data set here using data pandas here, and this is the sample data that we are working on. So here you can see the various features of this data frame, such as rank, discipline, PhD, service, sex, and salary. Now here what we're going to do is we're going to use various plot types here to plot information from this data frame. So you can see here we have various ranks here, such as uh, rank, associate, professor, professor, and so on. So this time I'm going to use histogram here for plotting the salary. So salary S is small. If you look at the output here, so this is basically a plot of a salary column here, and it is widely distributed. So let us say I want to distribute it into 8 sections here, or 8 ranges here. So I'll be using bins here, right? Bins are basically for partitioning the data into various segments. So this is basically partition into 8 segments here. Okay, that's great. So let us try to plot the same information using Seaborn, and in Seaborn we'll be using the this plot here. Look at this. So Seaborn gives, along with those bars in Seaborn, you get a line chart as well, which gives you a clear understanding of how the data is spread it across the data frame or the data set here. So that was the various demonstration that we can uh, implement using uh, various data visualization libraries such as Matplotlib and Seaborn here. Let us see exactly what else we can do here using this data frame. So grouping is basically a very common operation in pandas. So let us say we want to group rank in data frame. So group by okay. So we have grouped the data frame by rank here, and if we look at the salary here, right, and let's call count here. So we can see that how many people are getting the salary in various ranks here. So there are associate professors are 13, assistant professors are 19, and professors are 46. Now this is a very good information, but how we can plot this, how we can visualize this in a graphical way. And for this we'll be using the matplotlib once again, dot plot, and you can directly call the plot functions using pandas because matplotlib is integrated. And here you can see that how beautifully we can visualize the same information using a bar plot here. And we can easily determine that there are more professors who are getting the salary than there are assistant professors, and that there are associate professors in the provided data frame. So let us try to implement the same information using Seaborn here. So in Seaborn we can also set the style as well. So let's say the style is basically white grid. Style is nothing but the theme of your plot. So I'm going to call it, let's say, Seaborn dot bar plot, and at the x-axis we want rank, at the y-axis we want salary, and the data frame is basically df. All right, so this is going to be SNS. All right, so I'm supposed to use the data frame here, Okay, so this is the cat plot here, right? And we can again see the same information here using Seaborn, guys. All right, but this is the salary estimator here. So let's change it to, the len estimator, right? So I think now this is the equally comparable information as per this previous plot. All right, so I hope this demonstration is clearly understood by all of you, everyone. So in the next demonstration, we'll be seeing how we can, separate the categories here in the same plot. So let us extend the plot, using gender hue here. So basically, we're going to introduce a new term here called hue. Hue is basically for, segregating or separating your categorical columns and for, comparison-based analysis. In order to understand hue properly, let us look at this plot, everyone. AX equals to, let's say, SNS dot bar plot, and we are again comparing rank with the salary, and data is your data frame, estimator is basically the length. And if you look at this output here, this is exactly the same output, right? There is no difference here. But wait, there is one more field here in our data frame, and what that is sex. So sex is basically nothing but the gender here, and we are supposed to have two values here, male and female. So what if we want to, segregate the data or separate the data based on the gender as well? Let us suppose that we want to compare the same data of rank and salary as per the gender, right? So gender, male professors and female professors, male associate professors and female associate professors, and at the same time female assistant professors and male assistant professors. For this separation of the data, we can use hue here, right? If we add this parameter here called hue and we provide this sex column there, so look at the change that we are getting in our plot here. In this plot, you can clearly see that the same categories, right, rank, has been partitioned as per the sex or the hue parameter. So here, the blue is representing males and the brown is representing female here. So now we can clearly analyze the picture here, clearly analyze the data, that how many professors male are there, female are there, and so on. I think it's pretty easy for us to determine the pattern or the trend in the data. All right, so I hope the example was clear to all of you. Let us look at some more exciting examples in the new labs here. Now, in this new lab, we're going to talk about a plot which is not widely used. I've seen this plot being used quite a few times by the developers, but I believe this is one of the important and beautiful plot that we have available in Seaborn. So here, yes, you guessed it right. We are basically talking about violin plot here. Violin plot. Now, violin plot is one of the beautiful plots we have available, and why it is beautiful, why it is important, we're going to talk about that. Let us first of all display how a violin plot looks like. So we are going to plot a violin plot here for the salary column. So if you look at this plot here, this is how exactly a violin plot looks like. Now, violin plot plays a similar role as a box or a whisker plot. It shows the distribution of your quantitative data, which is the salary here, across several levels you can see here, right? So the main composition, right, is basically that the violin plot features a kernel density estimation here in the distribution, right? So that is the most important aspect of using the violin plot here. Now, as we have started with violin plot, how can we forget not discussing about joint plots and the box plots here? In the next demonstration, I'm going to show you how you can use joint plots from Seaborn and box plot for finding the various patterns from the data here. So let's talk about joint plot here first of all. and this time the column that we are featuring here is you know uh, services and the salary here. Joint services. Okay. So here, this is how exactly a joint plot looks like. It basically shows the distribution of your data. Here we can see that this is scatter plot here, and at the same time we can see the histograms here, right? So what they're showing, basically they're showing that how the data is scattered across various dimensions here, and how we can easily determine the outliers, the density, and how we can easily see exactly like like we can find the pattern or the trend from the data here using joint plot. So this is very easy and convenient for us to draw the inferences from the given plot here. Now at the same time we can use box plots here. Box plots are also very popular when we want to see the distribution of the data. So let us implement the box plots here. So I'm going to use the Seaborn once again, and here we're going to see the relation between salary and the rank here. So if you look at this box plot here, you can easily see the pattern in the data, that exactly like where the salaries are falling in the given data frame. So here we can easily see that the professors are getting highly paid, whereas associate professors are not that much getting paid, and and at the same time assistant professors are getting paid less. So that was just a general information, general interpretation from this data. Many a times we will see that some dots are also there, but in this data we don't see the dots. If you see the dots in this plot, basically those are outliers, and that requires a separate outlier treatment. On top of it, when we talk about box plot, we are also supposed to observe the interquartile range here, and the medians here, and based on that we can draw the assumptions, or pattern from the data. So that is another example of how we can use various types of plots, such as joint plot, Violin plot, and box plot, for drawing the insights. Now we are going to talk about one of the frequently used type of plot used in Seaborn, and that's basically not or none other than pair plot. Pair plot is one of the frequently used type of plot in Seaborn. It helps you see the relationship in a data set. So the pair plot function basically creates a grid of axes such that each variable in the data will be shared by the each variable with the each variable in the y-axis across a single row, or in the x-axis across a single column, basically. Now the information is basically a little difficult to interpret, but let's try to understand the pair plot using an example here. So this time we're going to plot a pair plot using Seaborn here. And first of all, let's set the theme here. So this is the code for setting the theme basically. And here we are going to work on a popular data set which is used in machine learning, and that's basically none other than iris. Seaborn. So are we were okay. Okay, so we are supposed to use you know uh, the alias here, and if we look at the data here, this is how the data looks like. Now before we proceed further, let us look at the data here. So we have various attributes here, such as sepal length, sepal width, petal length, and petal width and species here, and we are going to plot a pair plot here using Seaborn. So how this is going to look like exactly? This is going to look like this: SNS dot pair plot, and we are going to plot the iris plot here. And if we look at this, so here it has produced this uh, plot which is plotted into a 4 by 4 manner here. Now why it is 4 by 4? Because we have four numerical columns here, four continuous columns, and basically this is the relationship between, let's say, petal width and sepal length, petal width and sepal width, and petal length and petal length, and petal width and petal width. So similarly, there is a relationship between each and every variable here. So this is helpful in gaining the basic understanding of how your data is distributed, and how the data is basically spreaded across. So this is how a pair plot basically looks like. All right. So we started with dummy data. Then we moved on to the sample data sets, and we tried plotting different type of plots here. Let us try to draw the information or the insights from some live data, some data from the live servers. So in these demonstrations, I'm going to show you that how you can pull the data from live servers and you can plot them in real time. So for this, we'll be using one more library, from pandas, and that is basically pandas underscore data reader. So first of all, you're supposed to install pandas underscore data reader here like this. If in case if it is already installed, you will see a message like this, but in your case, you will see it getting installed. Now, once this library is installed, do not forget to import this library like this from pandas underscore data reader. Alright, so from pandas underscore data reader, import the data here, and once you are done, you're supposed to you can actually uh, retrieve the data from live servers here. Now the example that we are discussing here is basically of a stock exchange. So we'll be talking about the information of various companies at the stock exchange about their highs, lows, closings, and so on. So let us look at the following code for importing the data here. So here bb is the name of my data frame, and data reader is going to pull the data from the live servers, and the company, let's say we are willing to retrieve information about, is Apple. So in the stock exchange, AAPL is the symbol for Apple here. Now from which data source we are going to retrieve the data? And this is Stook. Stook is, you can think of Stook like a live server, and we are supposed to provide the range, from which date to, let's say, which date. Let's say from 1971 to let us say 2020 uh, December 29, let's say, or 25. All right, so this should bring us the data. So let us do the preview here, and you can see that we are not loading the data from any CSV file. This time we are pulling it from the live servers. Now before we start with the plotting part here, let us observe the various attributes associated with this data frame. So here you can see we have the date as the index column here. Then we have open, hive, low, close, and volume. Let us try to understand how Apple stocks are performing uh, during the given period here. And for this, we're going to plot a line chart here. So how we're going to do that? So BB high and low dot plot. So again, I think this is doing pretty good. Over a period of time, you can see that how the Apple stocks are performing, and the highs and the lows are pretty close every time in the given dates here, and it is easily helping us understand the performance of the Apple stock and the stock exchange. All right, so that was another example of how we can uh, you know work on the live data. If you are interested, in changing the theme, or or modifying the theme, uh, I can provide you with the styles which are available. So if you look at this list here, so what are these? Basically, these are for changing the aesthetics of your plots. So you can call them as themes as well. So we have themes like BMH, classic, dark background, fast, 538, and ggplot. All right, so I think we'll use ggplot in our next demonstrations. Right. So this time, we'll be doing the data visualization in a different way, using a different approach. This time, instead of using the data from the data frame, we'll be producing a new data basically. So let us learn how we can, add some more information based on existing data, and we can draw some beautiful insights out of it. In this demonstration, you'll be seeing me using broadcasting in a data frame, and let's see exactly how it goes like. So we are going to, retrieve you know, the data frame once again. So we are going to see data reader, and we are going to fetch the stock details for Apple from the data source, that is Stook. And the start date would be, let's say, 2019 0701 once again, and the end date is, let's say, 2020 12 and 25. Let us do the preview once again. If you're able to fetch the values, yes, we are able to fetch the values here. Now what we want to do with this data this time, let us say we want to, you know we want to mark the close of this data frame into few categories as per the range, right? Let us say we want to label these close columns values. Let's say if the value is less than 50, we want to mark it as poor performance. Let's say if the value is between 100 and 120, we want to label it as, let's say, satisfactory. And if the value is higher than 120, we'll label those values as stellar. So, and based on this labeling, we will be, we will be plotting a bar plot here, and we will be seeing exactly how the Apple stock is performing as per these labels. So how do we do that? For this, we are required to, write a custom function for it. So let us say it is rank performance, and here we're going to receive the stock prices. So if the stock price is less than 50, uh, basically we are calling it as poor performance. Elif, if the stock price is greater than 100, greater than 50, and stock price is less than 120, we are marking it as satisfactory. Else we are labeling it as, let's say, stellar. All right, so basically here we have provided with a business logic, which is basically categorizing the stock prices based on the various range. So let me recall it for all of you. If the stock price is less than 50, it is going to be labeled as poor. If the stock price is greater than 50 and between 120, it is going to be labeled as satisfactory. Otherwise, it is going to be labeled as stellar. Now, how we are going to apply the following algorithm on our data frame? So for that, we'll be using Google dot, let's say, close, and this is apply function here. And apply is a function which is used for applying the the you know uh, the algorithm on each value of your data frame. So you can have a look here that for the values in the close, as per the values of close column, this algorithm is applied, and for each value, for each numerical value, a label, a string value is returned. So here we can see stellar here, sometimes we can see satisfactory, and sometimes we can see poor values as well. Now what we are going to do is basically we are going to do the value counts on it. So if you look at this output here, that there are 331 satisfactory values, there are 34 stellar values, and there are 12 poor values. And what we are going to do basically with this data, we are going to plot a bar graph here. Okay, so this is not looking good. So pld.style.use, we're going to use ggplot here. I think this is looking more beautiful aesthetically. So we can see here, right, we can see the performance of, you know, the Apple stock prices within the given date range, how they have been performing. So most of the times we can see that the closings of Apple is satisfactory, whereas quite a few time, the performance was poor, and also few times they were, stellar in closing. So I think this gives us a beautiful understanding of, how the Apple prices have been performing as per the newly created data, that is satisfactory, stellar, and poor, from the given data frame or from the given data set. I hope this example gives you a clear understanding of how data visualization once again is helpful, and in drawing the meaningful insights from your data. Well, when talking about bar plots, how can we forget about pie charts? Pie charts have been with us, since quite a long time. Although we use them sometimes, but not that much frequently because we have so many other advanced plot types available. But let us, give some attempt to the pie charts also. So once again, guys, we are going to see another demonstration here on pie charts and how we can draw some meaningful insights from the data once again using the same old pie chart. For this, we're going to work on the same data frame here, and this is your BB, which is the previously created data frame. All right. So if you look at the okay, so what can we do here with this data frame, and how we can take advantage of the pie chart? What can be the scenario where pie chart can be helpful? So here, let's talk about the close column once again, and let's find out what is the mean of this column. So the mean of this column is 81.929 and so on. Let us say we want to categorize the closing as per the mean or the average. All right, so this time we want to see how many values are below average and how many values are above average. So in simple words, let us say like how many times the closing have been greater than the average, and how many times the closing is basically lesser than the average. So for this, once again, we are going to write a business logic here, similar to the previous one. So let's call it rank performance once again, and there's going to be stock price. And if the stock underscore price is greater than the mean, then return above average. Else, return below average. So basically, this is the business algorithm or business logic, which is going to categorize each stock price into two categories, either above average or below average. And let's see exactly how it looks like. So we're going to say bb.close.apply, and we're going to call rank performance here. Now, if you look at the data here, every or each value of your close have been labeled as per the business logic here, as per the algorithm. So we can see above average sometimes, and sometimes we can see below average as well. Now we're going to do the value counts on the same data, and let's find out basically what is the exact occurrence count for each value. So this gives us a clear understanding of below average is 235 times and above average is 142. But again, this is a numerical data. Now what we're going to do is we're going to plot a pie chart out of it. Now we're going to say plot, and the kind is pie. Now look at that, right? So here we have a pie chart available with us, and but it is not clear that which one is, what is blue and what is red. So we are going to say legend equals to true. I think this is pretty clear now that most of the values are below average, whereas some values or a good section is basically above average. All right. So that was a demonstration on how we can use a pie chart, our old friend, in visualizing the data, everyone. I hope the example is clear to all of you. All right. So we have come to a conclusion of this session, everyone. So in this tutorial, we explored some of the must-know libraries for performing data visualization in Python. Each of these libraries is quite popular in its own and shines out of different scenarios. I hope this tutorial from Rajan Chetri is going to help you understand and decide which library you're going to use for your next project. So do you think that any other data visualization library should be on this tutorial? So if you like the tutorial, please comment yes in the comment section and let us know what else you would like to us add in this video. So with this concluding the session, I hope you liked the video. If yes, do not forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you with some more interesting tutorials. Thank you everyone. Take care.